what we're going to be working on is how to divide polynomials. Okay, this will be our last lesson. We have two things we're going to be doing. The very first thing is we're going to figure out what the quotient of 85 divided by 34x over 2x minus 5. Now, the word quotient, everybody, is the answer to a division problem. Okay? I'm going to highlight a couple of things here. 85 minus 34x. This right here is what is called the dividend. Okay? 2x minus 5. This is what is referred to as the divisor. Now, before we tackle this problem, we're going to go in and review a quick little long division that you should know how to do by hand from elementary school. All right, so we're just going to do a quick little practice problem. This is an example problem. Okay? All right. If I said 6 into 103, that's the same thing as saying, hey, what is 103 divided by 6? Okay, so we're going to do 103 divided by 6. Now, we're going to use the same process for this. Okay, so right now, if you're going in your journal, we're going to do them side by side so you guys can see how similar they are. See the 85 minus 34x? We're going to put that right here. 85 minus 34x. See the 2x minus 5? We're going to put that right out in front. Okay? Now, everybody, something you have to pay very, 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 very close attention to when you're doing this. You always want to lead out with your x's. So what can I do to rewrite this where all of my x's are not in the back but up front? Go ahead, Ewan.
34x minus negative 34x plus 85.
Good. That's what I'm going to do. Negative 34x plus 85. Always lead out with your variable all the way up front. Okay? So get that all set up, just like that. Okay, let's go over to this little example problem right here, okay? 6 goes into 10 how many times? 1. 1, so 6 times. So remember the process of long division. You use 6 times 1, which is 6. Then what do? We subtract, right? What is 10 minus 6? 4, so put a 4. What do we do with this 3? We drop down the 3, and 6 goes into 43, a total of 7 times. 6 times 7 is 42, and look what we have left. We have the remainder of 1. You guys remember back in the day, anybody would do like 17 R, and they put the remainder was a 1, or they put R 1. Well, we don't do R1, okay? Actually, what you would do is you would say it went into it 17 times, and what did you have left? You had 1 out of 6. So this would be rewritten as 17 and 1 6. Remember that? Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to do the exact same method, okay? Except we're going to be using variables and numbers, not just numbers, okay? So here's what I want you guys to think, right? I'm going to put a little box right here to represent. It's like, what number right here times a 2x gets me to a negative 34x? What do you guys think? What number times a 2x can get me to a negative 34x? So think about this, right? 2x
17.
times what gets me a negative 34? You're close.
17x.
Nope, not a 17x. If you put a 17x there,
18x.
nope, hold on. If you were to put a 17x there, that would be 34x squared. 2 times 17 is 34, x times x is x squared. It's not going to be 17x. If you would have said 17, which some of you are like, I did say 17, that becomes a 34x.
Negative 17.
There you go. So I need this to be a what? Negative 17. Alright? So then it becomes not a positive 34x, it becomes a negative 34. So right here, in this box, put negative 17. So 2x times negative 17 is negative 34x. But this is what students will forget to do. Not only do you have to take the negative 17 and multiply it to the 2x, you need to take the negative 17 and you need to multiply it to the negative 5. So what is negative 17 times negative 5? 85. So put plus right here, plus 85. Now what did we do over here? What did we do right over here? We subtracted, right? So we have to do, here's what you gotta do. You gotta take this whole thing, everybody. You gotta take that whole thing. And what do we have to do? We have to subtract. Why? What did we do over here in long division? What did we do? We had to do what? We had to take away the 6. What do we have to do over here? We have to take away this whole expression. So let's take it away. Sorry? That's going to be fine. Because what happens? What's negative 34 minus a negative 34? What happens? That becomes a what? 0. What's 85 minus 85? 0. So what's our final answer? Negative 17. Let me show you how you prove that you got the right answer. Ready? You take your answer, everybody. You take your answer, negative 17, and you distribute it back to 2x minus 5. Here's how you check it. You take your answer right here. This is your answer. All right? And what do? You take your answer and you distribute it back to check it. What is negative 17 times 2x? That becomes a negative 34x. What's negative 17 times a negative 5? A positive 84. What did we start out with? Negative 34x plus 85. And how do you do this? What am I doing right now? I'm checking my answer. Yeah. But I want you to understand, this answer, basically, the answer, by the way, what do we call the answer to a division problem? We call it the quotient. You take your quotient, you multiply it to your divisor, and if you get your dividend, you got it right. Okay? So always do what? Always check your answer. What property are we using to check our answer? What property? Distributive property. Very good. All right. So by the way, what did we find as the quotient? What was the quotient? Negative 17. That's the answer to number 1. But I want to work on that. Okay? Okay, everybody. We got a big problem ahead of us right here. Big problem. All right? It says Abigail is building the framework for an entryway window for a house under construction. Now the window is in the shape of what? Right triangle. So here's what I want you guys to do. You guys, please make a right triangle on the thing. Just make a right triangle. All right, make a right triangle. By the way, make a right triangle. Can you guys put a little 90-degree angle in the corner? All right? That lets you know that it is a right triangle, that 90-degree angle. Okay. It says the height of the window. So guys, this would be the height. Okay.
Oh, we do that on triangle? Yeah.
The height of the window is represented by the expression what? 6x minus 7. So could you guys just put right here? 6x minus 7. Now, to allow for the maximum amount of light in the entryway, the area, keyword area of the window is represented by the expression 24x minus 28. So right now, I'm going to write capital A for area. So area, I'm going to use it. Say capital A is equal to 24x minus 28 square feet. Okay? So this is in square feet. This is just in feet. What is the base of the window in feet? So right now, put lowercase b. That's what we're trying to solve for. That's what we're trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out what goes there. Does anybody remember the formula for the area of a, that's the formula for the volume of a box. Or rectangle. Length times width is the formula for the area of a rectangle.
Oh, I don't remember the triangle.
Okay, so here's how I want you guys to remember. Check it out. Here's how I want you to remember.
Big D.
Would everybody agree that is a rectangle? Okay?
What else?
No, that's a rectangle. Now a square is a rectangle, but not all rectangles are squares. A square, everybody, a square has to have all equal sides, and it has to have all right angles. A rectangle has to have right angles, and opposite sides have to be equal. Okay? So a square is a rectangle, but not all rectangles are squares. Okay? So sometimes, everybody, this length is sometimes referred to as the base. Okay? This width sometimes is referred to as the height. Okay? So there's two formulas for the area of a rectangle for the same thing. Most times you guys see LW, which is length times width. Another formula you might see for the area of a rectangle is base times height. Okay? Now watch very, very, very carefully as I do something right now. What have I done to that area? I've cut it in half. Can you guys see right here that this piece right here, that if all of it is a whole, this would be considered half the base times the height. Okay? And that's how you get the formula for the area of a triangle. The area of a triangle is always what?
Half.
1/2 the base times the height. Can you see how I got the formula for a half base times height? Because what's the shaded region right here? What's that a picture of? The shaded area. It's triangle. All right? Yes. Okay. Everybody? Right now, it says, what is the what? What is the base? So here's what I want you guys to do. Right now, I want you guys, we're going to take this formula right now. We're going to take this formula, and we are going to solve for lowercase b. We're going to take this formula right here. We're going to solve for lowercase b. So here's what I want you to do. Write down 1/2 b times h equals capital A. And we're going to solve for b. You have to be able to solve for formulas in this lesson. The whole back page is solving for formulas. Right now, this is your first practice. Okay? So we're going to solve for b. Step 1. What you're going to do. I want you guys, for step 1, I want you to multiply both sides by, I'm doing red, multiply both sides by 2. Now what will that look like? It'll look like this. I'm going to take this side and multiply by 2. I'm going to take this side and multiply by 2. That's what I want you to do first. Alright, on the left side, if I take 2 and I multiply it by 1/2, what is 2 times 1/2? What's half of 2? 1. So what happens? These cancel out, and what are you left with? You're left with b times h equals, what is 2 times a? 2a. So put a 2, alright, and a capital A. So the base times the height equals twice the area. Okay? Step 2. Divide both sides of the equal sign by h. We're going to divide both sides by h. We're going to divide this side and this side by an h. What happens to these h's? What's h divided by h? What's any number divided by itself? 1. So h divided by h cancels to a 1. What is our b value equal to? It's equal to 2 times the area divided by the height. This is your formula with the base. Okay? By the way, does anybody know what our area is? Look at your papers. Does anybody know what the area is equal to? Go back up here and see what the area is equal to, okay?
Oh, 24 acres.
Here's what I want you guys to understand. The area is equal to what? 24x minus 28. Does anybody know what our height of our right triangle is equal to?
6x minus
6x minus 7, right there. Okay? Everybody, here's what I want you to do. Do 2 times. What's my area?
7.
Good. What is my height? Good. Okay? We're going to distribute right now. We're going to go ahead and distribute the 2. Okay? We're going to distribute the 2. That gives us what? 48x minus 56. 6x minus 7. Now we're going to figure out what the answer is. Okay? Now there's a couple of ways we can do this. Okay? We're going to set it up. We're going to set it up the traditional way. Okay? We're going to set up the traditional. What did we do before? We took 48x minus 56 and we divided it by what? 6x minus 7. Okay? Now, here's what I want you to think about. What number times 6x minus 7 equals 48x minus 56? What would I have to put right here to distribute it to both terms for it to equal this? This times this equals 48x. And this times this equals negative 56. Is there such a thing? Alright, what is it?
8.
That's right, it's 8. Good job, right? It's 8 right there. 8 times 6x is 48x. 8 times negative 7 is negative 56. Now, if you were to put that 8 right here, and you would have to take that 8 and distribute it to both terms. 8 times 6x is 48x. 8 times negative 7 is negative 56. What do we have to do with these? We have to subtract it. And what's our big old remainder? 0. So what is our final answer? 8. Okay? So how do you check your answer? You use the distributive property. What have you been doing all year long? The distributive property. We've been doing that all year long. So you should be comfortable with it. Okay? All right. I know, it's a lot of work. By the way, notice, how many problems did I give you on the front page? 20?
3.
No, 3. That's plenty of room to work, okay? So here we go. Everybody, here's what I want you to do right now. I want you guys to try this one on your own right now. We're going to set it up. If it says, what is A divided by B, you're going to take 62x minus 100 and divide it by 2x minus 3. So here's what I want you to do. You're going to take 2x minus 3 and you're going to divide it into 62x minus 100. Good luck. First thing you got to do is you got to start right here. Now I'm letting you guys know, this one's going to actually have a remainder. So go as far as you can. See how far you can go. Okay. The first thing you have to ask yourself is you're thinking, okay, 2x times what can get me to a 62x? That's what I'm trying to figure out. 2x times what gets me to a 62x? What do you guys think? 31. You're right. Put 31. Put 31 right there. Okay? Put 31 right there. Now, you're going to take that 31 and you're going to distribute it to the 2x, and you're going to take the 31 and distribute it to the negative 3. You're taking 31 and multiplying it to both numbers. Okay? So here's what you're doing. You're taking 31, and what are you multiplying it to? You're multiplying it to the 2x minus what? 2x minus 3. So what's 31 times 2x? That's 62x. What's 31 times a negative 3?
Negative 90.
Negative 93. You guys notice how all of this is not going to cancel out now? Alright? So what do I do? Parentheses. Put parentheses right there. Put a big old minus sign. Now, will the 62x's cancel each other out? Yeah, so that what happens to that zeroes out. So what is this asking us to do? This is asking us to do negative 100 minus, say what? Negative 93. What happens when you have a negative and a negative? Makes it a positive. We have negative 100 plus 93. What does that equal? What? Nope. Negative 7, because there's more negatives than positives. Okay? So put negative 7. Ooh, we have a first what? We have our first remainder, everybody. We have our first remainder. So how do we write our final answer? How do we write our final answer? How many whole times did it go into it? It went a whole time with what? 31. Now, you got what was our remainder? Negative 7. So we're going to put minus 7 out of
2x over 3, 2x negative minus 3.
There we go. That's how you write your final answer. Right. That That's how it's going to look. Now, by the way, what does this similar to? Let me go back and show you guys what this is similar to. Okay, ready? Does everybody know that right here, this was not written as 17R1. It was written as what? 17 and what? 1 out of 6. Go forward. This was not written as 31R negative 7. It was written as 31 and what? Negative 7 over 2x minus 3. You see the pattern now? It's this number over this number. And that's how you write your final answer. Okay? Sorry. By the way, this is going to be a multiple choice one. Now, this is something that we're teaching you, but has yet to be tested on the STAR test. Okay? So I'm thinking they're letting us know, hey, by the way, you better keep teaching it because eventually you're going to see one of these on the STAR test. Okay? All right, everybody, right now, what I need you guys to do is make this a new section. We're going to be solving mathematic and scientific formulas, all right, and other literal equations for a specified variable. So here's what I need you guys to do. Put number 1 and 2 in your journal right now. 1 and 2 in your journal. All right, everybody, it says solve each equation or formula for a variable that's been specified. So right now, in problem number 1, what are we solving for? R. Right there. By the way, this is a true formula. This is distance equals rate times time. So I'm going to write it so you guys know. D equals RT is equal to distance equals rate times time. That's something you'll use in IPC, you'll use in physics, you'll use in any science class dealing with rates and change and also algebra. Okay? When we're solving for R, right here, we're solving for R, which means we need to get R totally by itself. It's R by itself right now. It's being multiplied to T, known as time. So in order to do that, you only have to do one step. On this one, all you're going to do is one step. R. Divide both sides by T. Divide both sides by the time. That's all you got to do. So I'm going to take this side right here, divide that by time, divide this side by here. That's all I'm doing. What happens? What happens to the t's? They cancel to a 1. What are you left with? You're left with the rate, right? What is the rate equal to? The distance divided by the time. If you ever want to know the speed at which you're going, okay, your average speed, take the distance that you've traveled, divide it by the time that it took you to be where you are, and that gives you your average rate. Like how long is it, what's the fast, what's the velocity, what's the speed that you're traveling. Okay? That's your answer. It said solve for what? R. Alright? By the way, it said solve for T. You wouldn't divide both sides by T, you divide both sides by R. So what is time always equal to? The distance divided by the rate. If you take your distance, divide it by your rate, you'll get the time that it takes you to get there. Now, some of you might have gotten this. Some of you might have gotten distance divided by time equals R. That's still right. These mean the same thing. Okay? But typically, what I want you to do is I want you to lead out with whatever your variable is. Okay? So that is problem number 1. Now we're going to go on to problem number 2. Zoom in on it. Right here. And what does problem number 2 ask you to solve for? W. So I'm going to highlight the W, everybody, because that's what we're solving. Here we go. We're going to rewrite it. 6W minus Y equals 2 times Z. Now I will always put a little slash in my Z so you know it's a Z and not a 2. Okay? Here's my equal sign. This problem has literally just 2 steps. Step 1, I'm going to isolate the W. Okay? I'm going to isolate the W. Now how am I going to isolate the W? I'm literally going to add Y to both sides of the equal sign. You guys know both sides means both sides of the equal sign. Okay? So here's what I'm going to do. What am I going to add to both sides? I'm going to add the Y. Well, I'm going to add a Y here. These are additive inverses. What happens when you add additive inverses? That becomes a whole lot of nothing. I'm going to add Y to this side. Now everybody, I'm going to highlight something that's very, very, very important where students mess up. This is where students mess up all the time. These are not like terms, which means you cannot add these together. They're not the same. If I said, what's 2Z plus Y, you better say 2Z plus Y. If I say, what's A plus B, you better just say A plus B, because they're not like terms. So right here, what am I going to write down right here? 2Z plus Y equals, what am I bringing down? What am I bringing down? 6W. Okay? Now we're about to do the last and final step. Divide both sides. 5, 6. We're going to divide this side and this side. 5 to number 6. So your final answer, everybody, these 6's simplify to a 1. So W is equal to 2 times Z plus Y all over 6. And that is what W is equal to. Okay? When you're doing this, what you got to make sure you don't add things that are not alike. Okay? Make sure you can only add things that are alike. You guys need to do problem number 6.